Hey, New Hope Church. Pastor Jim coming at you with our next installment of Soul Care 2025. And I am here with my buddy Matt Grist. And we are going to be doing some talking about soul care and leadership and growth and all that kind of stuff. I want to share with you probably a year and a half or 2 years ago when Matt and his wife Stephanie started to attend New Hope. He and I started having some leadership conversations, and they were things that I wasn't sure about, I didn't know about, and so I was picking his brain. And over that process of lunches at the old jail and the different places where we were going, I really came to appreciate Matt a lot and what he brought to the table, how I was benefiting from his wisdom and his knowledge. And so what I'd like to kind of kick us off with is, Matt, why don't you share with the folks, like, what are some of the spiritual disciplines that you've used in the past? What has been your growth? What has brought you kind of to where you are today in your growth opportunities?
So, some time ago in other churches, I had opportunities to, do various things that were small areas of leadership, small group co-leaders, and doing some things that were supporting the church leadership. Eventually, actually, through just being available and being willing to help and take responsibility for things, I ended up in church leadership and on an elder role at some point. And again, the things that were important to that were just staying very faithful to prayer and then supporting those that were really in the leadership spots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So what about today? Yeah. What are some of those disciplines that you're actually using today that are being helpful?
Right. So today, probably the most critical thing is just staying close to God's Word, which I've been able to do that for pretty faithfully the whole time, and so I'm always immersed. So my mind is constantly being challenged and stretched there. And the other is in just spending time with the Lord and being open to hearing His voice, and then most recently just really getting back into a discipline of getting quiet with the Lord, which is something that I think was easier when I was working, which I've been retired now for a few years, because there was so much noise in my life when I was working. I really was intentional about getting the quiet time and making sure I did that. And after I retired, when it was quieter all the time, I found it was actually more challenging. So I've been able to really devote some time to that and making sure I set that time aside.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay. Well, a couple years ago, you went through Equip. You walked through the whole year process of Equip 1.0. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what was happening in your growth at that time to move you into or head you towards where you're at now in your leadership?
Well, the thing that came very clear in Equip is not very far into the program. It was very clear message to me that you're going through all this, you're spending all this time, and it's not for me. Mm-hmm. This is for someone else. The whole purpose of going through Equip is to equip you so that others can benefit from what you're learning and what you're doing. So that was
I can remember some of those conversations. Yeah,
right. That was the primary thing.
Yep.
And then again, I talked about just a reminder of the disciplines and the solitude and the quiet, how important that is. And then really during the Experiencing God portion of this, which was very clear about, hey, see where God's working, and then jump in. And so coming out of Equip, I think my mindset was clear. Okay, look for where God is going to present an opportunity, and then when the opportunity is there, okay.
Which that was one of the parts of the book.
Correct.
The Experiencing God book that we walk through. So maybe just take a second and talk about that idea that is referred to in Equip about looking for God and what He's doing, and then joining Him in what He's doing.
So that's a matter of, again, you need to be in prayer. You need to be mindful that, okay, God is at work somewhere, and it's up to you to kind of connect there and find out where it is. And so, as Equip was going on through what I knew and my conversations with people here, see what it is that is a place where I can see God working in people, and where, hey, there might be a way for me to also then join in that. So that was the again the clear, I guess, direction at the end of Equip.
Yeah. So you finished with Equip, and then I remember us having a conversation.
Right.
And so and as you finished with that, then the thought process, okay, where do I go from here? Yeah. So now you have stepped into a role here at New Hope that is which is a substantial leadership role as you are leading our small group ministry. So talk about that transition point where you went from finishing Equip into stepping into this role you're in.
Yeah, and that was, I guess that was a process that would very much be, I guess the way the experiencing God design or the concept works.
Yeah.
I was in my mind and my heart is make myself available. Okay, what is it that there would be to do? I don't think small groups was even on my mind. It wasn't something that even, there were other ways I thought there could be. Mm-hmm. And then we talked, and I think what is impressed upon me at that point is, okay, where can I do the most good right now? Mm-hmm. And small groups became, okay, that would be a big help to be able to do that and be able to step in and do that. And then right away, okay, there's parts of that due to my background and just, the abilities I knew I had. Much of that was like, okay, that's fine, I can do that. Yet there are other parts of it, and I've learned as I've been in this, okay, that's not necessarily my strongest suit, but it was okay. Mm-hmm. Just, I knew there were things I could do, so just go do them. And so that's how I started into that. And I think through this last year, those things I've been able to see, okay, I can organize and I can keep things straight. I can kind of help, with problem solving and things like that. Mm-hmm. But the other parts, relating, supporting, and then, even some of the other parts of the role.
Yep.
I never anticipated speaking in church. That was
right on.
That wasn't on the list when I started this. So those things kind of grew out of just, I think, a willingness to just be available.
Yeah, yeah. We think about in Matthew chapter 25, Jesus is talking about it's the parable of the talents, where a master is going away on a trip, and he gives three different servants three different amounts of responsibilities to oversee. And one he gives, talks about 5 bags of gold to go and invest. One he gives 2 bags of gold. One he gives 1 bag of gold. This has nothing to do with the amount of how much he values the servants. This has everything to do with all of us have different capacities for doing something in the kingdom of heaven. So for you, you would have a higher level of capacity in certain areas because of who you are, because of your leadership responsibilities in the past, and all of that kind of stuff. So, what would you say to our New Hope folks who maybe have either not yet stepped into some kind of a leadership role, or they might have a bigger capacity, but they have not taken that step yet to move into something else? What would you say to those folks?
Well, I would say that, okay, to what you said, the capacity, whether it's 5, 2, 1, that's not relevant as much as it is, what do you do with what you're given?
Yes.
And I know there's seasons in my life I've been through where I was all about, okay, I can make the 5 into 10 or 20.
Yep.
I've been through moments where, okay, I got the 5 and I'm not even delivering 1. So it's really about just doing with what you've been given, and the return will come. And so it doesn't really matter if it's, doing something in leadership or doing something in leading worship or whatever it might be in teaching or various things.
Or cafe or whatever.
There's no difference in those. Mm-hmm. Those are serving with what you've been given, and they give a return the same as any one of them. Yep. So it's really about what you can do with what you've been given, and do do it, your capacity to do what you're able to do.
Yeah, and the willingness to step into it. That's what I really want us to get through this conversation with Matt and I today, is that our capacities, like Matt said, it doesn't matter. What matters is, what are we doing with the capacity that we have, and are we willing to step into whatever Jesus is offering in front of us, whatever he's leading us towards, and are we willing to step into that? So big thanks to Matt for joining us on Soul Care today. And so everybody have a great rest of your week, and we'll look forward to seeing you, if not before, Sunday morning.
All right.